Well, no sooner were we together than we were torn apart once more. Back in our homes, if not our spiritual homes, with you for another edition of Cocktails and Conversation. Yes, you thought as you breathed the sigh of relief last Wednesday evening, that was it. That was it for the hijinks and frolics that this program had brought you since lockdown began in April. But not a bit of it. We just can't get enough. We are junkies for this show, not to mention for the Breeders' Cup. So the build up to 2021 just begins right here. Nick Luck in Southwest London alongside Mark Tuberty in Brooklyn and Brittany in, I think.
Where do you think?
Well, I was going to say Los Angeles. I'm wondering whether, because it's a different background.
Oh, well, I think I toyed around with this background a little bit. So I'm in Del Mar because the racing season, the Bing Crosby season is underway. Missed a couple weekends of it being in Kentucky. So this will be my first trip down here for the fall. And there's something special about it down here in the fall. It's obviously it's quiet because no fans still there, but it's got a different vibe. I like it. And we are obviously gearing up for the Del Mar Breeders' Cup here next year.
It's just the countdown begins here, Mark. I mean, how many cocktails have you got in you?
I've got as many as you'll listen to and you'll make with me. I can keep on diving through those books, dust them off, go back to 1852, wherever I need to keep making some awesome cocktails for you guys. We've got two great ones tonight, both inspired by big winners this past weekend.
I love this, by the way.
Yes. I'm so excited. We're going to be making authentic Kentucky Flyer, which is kind of a twist on the classic aviation cocktail. So we're going to bring maraschino liqueur to play for the first time on this show. And then we're also going to be making a Monomoy Rush. That's an original, sort of a take on a Cape Codder. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a fancy name for a vodka cranberry. We're going to talk about that. You guys look fantastic. I know you don't have the Maker's Mark and the Tito's lined up behind you like you did last week, but you guys did a fantastic job making that cocktail, making the Tory Cup.
It was delicious, wasn't it, Nick?
We had so much fun last week. It really was. It was one of the highlights of the week. I realized we had more serious business to get down to on Friday and Saturday, and I hope you all enjoyed the shows. And please write in and tell us your favorite moments, your favorite winners, your favorite celebration, whatever it is, your highlights, lowlights, whatever from Breeders' Cup 2020. Just post them in the chat and we'll try and read through them. But yeah, we had a great time on this show last week, and it was great to finally do it. Two of us together, one day, Mark, one day.
It's going to happen.
It will be the Three Musketeers eventually.
Yes.
I just coined us that. I don't know if we like it. We could, mull it over a little bit, come up with something else.
I for one, am honored to be one of those Three Musketeers. But yeah, maybe we can find our own Cocktails and Conversation version of that legendary trio.
Yes.
We'll take suggestions. Go ahead and shoot them in throughout the show.
Along with your favorite Breeders' Cup moment or race, a name for this trio. Speaking of favorite Breeders' Cup moments, I wanted to give both of you an opportunity to kind of reflect on the weekend. Nick, I'll start with you. What was your favorite Breeders' Cup moment?
Testing COVID negative when I got back on Tuesday was fairly high on the list, I'd say.
That's something to celebrate. Just got a negative COVID test myself.
It's always important.
Bit of a relief. To be fair, they did a great job at Keeneland last week. Everybody got tested, so you were as insulated as you possibly could be. You feel for Christophe Soumillon, man who missed out on about $1 million by the time his winning percentages were calculated.
I mean, and that's an easy way to get straight into Mark's top moment of the Breeders' Cup. I know you were watching, and you have full horse racing knowledge from these 28 shows we've had in the books. What was your favorite moment, Mark?
I'm still growing with that knowledge, but I enjoyed each and every race. And some of them were nail biters. Some of them, it was like, we had a leader right off the bat and they held on to that lead. But in the turf, Tarnawa, right in, what was it, the last 2-3 seconds. I know you guys would put that in terms of measurements, but he just came out. So the analogy that I used earlier was from Fast and the Furious, when they hit that nitrous button and they suddenly have this burst of power. It was absolutely incredible to watch when he came on the outside.
And there's so many storylines with Tarnawa, Nick. I mean, Dermot Weld, who's won a grade 1 in so many different countries, finally gets his Breeders' Cup victory, and the jockey change. Obviously, he seemed slightly worried about having another jockey aboard because she doesn't seem like the easiest one to ride, but it didn't really matter at the end of the day.
And only slightly worried as well, because he knew in Colin Keane he had a brilliant substitute, a young guy full of confidence, full of talent, and a man who has been widely tipped to eventually slide into the role at Ballydoyle. So, it was a brilliant introduction to the international stage for him. And she's a super talented filly. And there was some lovely historical bits of significance there, not just Dermot Well's first winner, but in the colours of the Aga Khan, who was the owner of the first ever Breeders' Cup Turf winner all the way back in 1984 at Hollywood Park. So, yeah, it was a smashing result on what in the turf races was a great night for foreign invaders.
Great 2 days for the Europeans. I mean, Saturday they won every turf race. Friday they had the one, I believe. Yeah, no, they had none on Friday, did they?
No, nothing on Friday.
Yeah, nothing on Friday, but they took all of them on Saturday. Do you think that was the best showing of the Europeans of all Breeders' Cups we've seen?
2008 at Santa Anita was a bit of a feast, but you've got to remember that the races on the main track were on the pro ride that year. So you had horses like Ravens Pass winning the Classic and Vale of York winning the Juvenile, which you'd never get now. So in terms of an all turf performance, yes, it was the best showing from a European contingent. And getting new names on the list, I think that was the most important thing. It's not the numbers. I don't really mind whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4 European winners. It's new names coming to Breeders' Cup and encouraging more participation next year. So that then drives the competitiveness of the event up. So if trainer X suddenly lands on a good horse, it's immediately in their consciousness that should be a realistic target at the end of the year. So getting the best horses there year in, year out is what it's all about, no matter where they're from.
And especially in a year like we've had with the travel restrictions due to the pandemic, it was wonderful to see them not only supporting the event, but doing so well in it too. You want them to win because it's a truly global event as well. We have some great comments coming in, a lot for Whitmore, and that's an easy segue for one of my favorite Breeders' Cup moments. Whitmore, he has been on the scene since he was 2. He was in the Kentucky Derby. Trainer Ramo Quet decided to turn him back and became an elite sprinter, and this was his 4th attempt at the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and it just gave me chills when he won. I have no association with the horse other than following him for so many years, and it just felt so fitting that he would get that victory. And it just, what a cool horse. What a cool horse. So for me, it was Whitmore in the sprint. And then we wrapped up the 2 days, I thought, with a really special moment. B. Wayne Hughes of Spendthrift Farm got his very first Breeders' Cup Classic. I think we've got a photo of Wayne in the winner's circle afterwards with the flowers just draped around him and just an ear-to-ear smile. He's been in this industry for decades, and here we go. You could just see that he was having himself a moment. It's been a tough year for so many people. He wasn't able to come out to the Kentucky Derby, but he was on hand for the Breeders' Cup, and I can only imagine what that moment meant to him. But I loved this, just seeing those flowers draped around him.
And he's had some really special Breeders' Cup moments down the years. You talk about Beholder, all going all the way back to Action This Day, springing a massive surprise back in 2003 at a huge price in the Juvenile. But this surely topped the lot in those orange and purple silks. And we've already had one nod to My Racehorse, watching all those representatives of My Racehorse winning a Breeders' Cup Classic.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, and you heard Eric Gustafson, the president of Spendthrift Farm, kind of talk about it afterwards. Bringing people into the sport is what it's all about. So yeah, hats off to them. They had about 5,300 people just in My Racehorse watching Authentic storm down the stretch. But we have so much to cover in the show today. Nick, who do we have on tap?
Well, a little bit later on, we've got the man who rode his first Breeders' Cup winner in his first ever attempt, and it was a first ever European victory in the turf sprint. It was Tom Eaves, the man who rode Glass Slippers to that daredevil success, thrilling run up the inside. We've got a man who is in the news every day at the moment. Not only has he just won his first Breeders' Cup Classic to add to his litany of great victories and completed the Kentucky Derby and Breeders' Cup Classic double, he's just picked up the ride on 'Tis the Law for the Pegasus, which has created about as much debate as you want on social media tonight. He is, of course, the Hall of Famer, John Velasquez. But first up, Brittany, whoever said that too many cocks spoiled the broth?
Nobody.
No, exactly. I had to get the first corny pun of the night in. He equaled Richard Mandela's record of 4 Breeders' Cup wins at the same meet. All right, it's not quite the same because it was over 2 days. But whatever, it's still a phenomenal, titanic achievement. And we missed him last Wednesday night because he fell asleep.
You know what? Maybe that's the key to success, falling asleep early, 7 p.m. We were trying to get him on that last show, and he profusely apologized, but we do have him on hand today. I think if we can bring him in, Mr. Brad Cox, he will be joining us in just a moment. I think we're having some technical difficulties here, but he did give, he paid tribute to Mr. Mandela after he realized he had won 4 Breeders' Cup and tied him. He said, it feels like Mandela, and here's the man himself, 4-time at this 2020 Breeders' Cup winning trainer, Brad Cox.
Hey.
Good evening,
Brad.
guys. How you doing?
Good to see you.
I'd ask how you are, but I mean, you had quite the weekend. How have you recovered?
Well, it hasn't slowed down much. It's been working with the sale going on Sunday with Monomoy obviously selling. We were busy with that, but it's been good. I mean, it's getting back into the swing of things, the normal grind of training racehorses, I guess you would say.
Who's with you tonight, Brad?
This is Brody. This is my 5-year-old. Say hi. He was in a couple of the win pictures.
Hi, bud.
He has FOMO right now. It's been we've been getting back into the swing of things, and it's been good. Good, fantastic week actually.
It's such trainer speak though, because you hear it often, especially when you have such a big barn like you do. You try to soak up the moment as much as you can, but then you also have plenty of other horses to be taken care of the next day, and so it's business as usual with an added excitement. I mean, how would you describe Friday night, Saturday night?
Friday night, honestly, it was a tremendous accomplishment for our staff. To be able to win 2 Breeders' Cup races with juveniles. I mean, really, that's what you work for, is to get these young horses and develop them. And it's kind of a process that, you have to obviously take your time, but, there's only one opportunity for these juveniles in their 2-year-old season to obviously get to the Breeders' Cup. So, it means a lot. But, obviously we had a big day Saturday with Monomoy, and I wanted everything to stay focused. I remember going back to the barn, and, it was kind of somewhat, loud, not loud, but, there was some commotion and stuff. I said, hey, listen, I told my help, we all got to stay focused because, we obviously have a lot going on tomorrow, and, we need to keep it as quiet as we can around here. So, that's just part of it, and even on Sunday, we had a lot going on at Churchill, and, you just got to keep, stay after it, really. I mean, there's a lot going on, and I feel like, I'm the coordinator. I have to make sure everything's in place, the head coach, whatever you want to call it, general manager, and I got to make sure everybody's where they need to be and doing what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Go on. I was just going to say, did having the winners on the Friday, how did you sleep Friday night into Saturday?
I'm sorry, Nick. Say once again.
How did you sleep Friday night into Saturday, having got the
honestly, really well. I slept really well Friday and Saturday. We went to dinner, a quick dinner on Friday night, and then I slept really well early Saturday morning. We didn't have much going on Saturday morning with just with training and stuff. There wasn't much going on. Just walk the horses. So it was a pretty simple morning. And then honestly, they're such long days that like when it's time to lay your head down, it's pretty easy to go to bed. To be honest.
I understand that one. Going in, you had 9 runners, I think, off the top of my head. Did you have 9?
Eight Breeders' Cup runners.
8 Breeders' Cup runners over the 2 days, and you won with half of them. Honestly, is that on par with what you thought you would do, or did it exceed your expectations?
I know you hear this all the time, and they played the video clip of all the trainers saying, doing well, couldn't be doing any better. And it's so true. Like I felt with our 8 horses that they were all doing as well as they could do all year long. I mean, they were peaking. They all felt like we're on top of their game, and fortunate enough to get 4 wins. But I felt like it was we could have a huge day. And even after Monomoy won, I really had a lot of confidence in Arklow. He didn't really have the set. I shouldn't say he didn't have the setup, but he was just pulling a little too much on the inside and never really took a deep breath and relaxed. But, I had a lot of confidence that horse would run good. Factor this, I had a lot of confidence in him, Owendale, and everyone else that we ran. So, 3 of the 4 winners were favorites, and Essential Quality was a clear-cut second choice in the wagering. So I felt like we had a big opportunity for a huge weekend, and it worked out really well.
So is it a sense of relief almost when they run?
I guess the Breeders' Cup. I mean, they're hard races to win. Anyone in the business knows that, but I guess when you have favorites, I mean, there's pressure on. I was very shocked to see Nix go as big a favorite as he was going into the race. I really didn't think he was going to be the favorite. And then obviously when they were loading, he was bet down pretty heavy. So, it is somewhat relief when your favorite. The pressure's on. Put it that way. When you're the favorite, the pressure's on for sure.
Yeah.
Brad, I wanted to talk to you about what it is like now. I mean, I want to talk about Monomoy Gala in a minute, but I want to talk to you about what it's like now, having not just those 4 Breeders' Cup wins under your belt, but also the winter favorite for the Kentucky Derby. Essential Quality is bearing a heavy load, and not always a load that necessarily is born where it should, but it must be a great feeling nonetheless.
No, it is, and it's a great position to be in with a colt that acts like he can go 1.25 miles, and has done everything asked of him so far, and really looking forward to trying to getting him through the next few months and getting him started. Hopefully, we'll be able to get him started maybe in February or something. No plans on exactly where that start may come, but this is what you get up and do this for every day, is to try to get to the Kentucky Derby. So, just super, super excited about this colt. Hopefully, I would think he would earn championship honors. And for, anytime you have a 2-year-old that can do that, I mean, it means so much to the clientele. And obviously Godolphin, and with this horse being a homebred for them at some point, hopefully as 4, maybe 5-year-old retiring the stud, hopefully we can get another great year out of him next year, for sure.
It was kind of a topic of, the Breeders' Cup. We did see so many horses go off into retirement, and one that did not is Monomoy Girl. At what point did you know that she was coming back to the barn?
Well, there had been some, we had talked to a couple farms and international outfits that had talked about, buying her, and if just basically asked me if I thought she was, able to race in 2021, and I mean, without a hesitation, I said yes. I mean, I thought we saw the best Monomoy Girl to date on Breeders' Cup Saturday, and she came out of it in great shape Sunday morning. We went over her, jogged her up the road. She looked fantastic. We loaded her, took her over to Fasig-Tipton, and she really took all that in extremely well. She's back at our barn now, and I had a good feeling that whoever purchased her would, at least give her a couple runs in 2021 and see how it goes. I think Spendthrift's intent is to totally campaign her through 2021 as long as she's happy, healthy, and training well.
That's great news.
It's tremendous news, but of course it tees up all these great possibilities about which races you might go for, and whether the big money is going to be an incentive to offset that huge purchase price. Oh, he's gone. No, he's back.
Yeah.
He's back. And whether those big money international races might be an incentive to offset the big purchase price. Well, what's your thoughts, Brad? How long a break do you need to give her?
I mean, she won't really get a break as far as being turned out. We'll just walk her in the barn for, maybe a week or so. Just kind of let her tell us when she's ready to go back to the track. But no, I think it's definitely on the table that, it's something we could look at as far as, international racing, racing against males. I mean, obviously, if we go international, that's what we would do. So it's definitely something that we'll look at. And once again, we'll talk it over Spendthrift at some point down the road and make a decision. But, I think she's definitely capable of another big year.
So those Dubai, Saudi, those races might be.
I totally think so. I think Saudi. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's 1 1/8 miles around one turn.
Yeah.
That I've always thought. She really likes one. She's likes a 1-turn mile, and she's 3 for 3 at a mile and an eighth. So I think it's definitely something that she would enjoy, a mile and an eighth on one turn.
Well, Nick, you're talking about offsetting the big purchase price. $9.5 million Monomoy Girl sold for. That's the second highest behind Ava Grace at $10 million. Yeah. But correct me if I'm wrong, there was a family member with her in the ring at Phasig. Tell us a little bit about that. I think we've got a photo too.
Yeah, no, Blake, my son, he's 19. He's obviously been around her for a long time. But, Liz Crow and Brad Weisbord had approached him about 3 days prior to the sale and said, would you, just kind of out of nowhere, I was standing there and they said, Liz asked Blake, said, would you want to bring her up to the ring and walk her through the ring? And he jumped on it, obviously, immediately was, excited, enthusiastic about it. And, it really meant a lot. I really wanted to thank those guys for giving him the opportunity, because that's something that obviously this was a great weekend, and hopefully that's something he'll never forget. That was just an amazing 20 minutes of leading her up to the ring, and obviously he's led a few horses, he's worked the sales before, so he has some experience, but obviously nothing like this, and it just meant a lot to our whole family.
I was watching the race again today, and I still got no idea how easily she won it. It's quite remarkable. I mean, she has this, and don't take this the wrong way, I remember thinking it when I first ever watched her win a race at Keeneland before she won the Oaks. She has this incredibly kind of unremarkable way of going, yet you suddenly realize she's in front and not for catching. Mm-hmm. And who knows what she's got left.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It's almost like she just does enough to stay, keep her distance, and she knows. I've always said this. It's very odd, and I mean, anyone that watched her walk out of the paddock on Saturday, she really knows when to turn it on and off. Like when you watch her walk out of the paddock, it's almost like she just wants to stop and look around, and she'll take another 5 or 6 steps, and she'll stop and want to look around. And Florence always said it's like it's like she doesn't even want to go out there. And it's like she's going, but it's just on her terms. Mm-hmm. And it's really amazing how she acts at times. In the barn, she's like that. She, just some, when she's walking around the shed row, I mean, anyone could walk her. She's very laid back, but when she turns around to gallop, I mean, she jumps on it and she goes. But she totally knows when to turn it off and turn it on. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. She's almost got this incredible kind of coldness to her, like when she crossed the line there, and the ears were pricked straight away. And you wouldn't see that in many fillies who just run their guts out in a Breeders' Cup Distaff and won it for the second time with a year off in between. That's why I was thinking, if you come back next year and you take on males, who's to say how far she could run? Could she run the mile and a quarter no problem? Or
it's uncharted territory. But like you said, I mean, given her races in the Breeders' Cup, and it's definitely a possibility. I mean, she knows where the wire is, and she knows when to turn it on and off, and she's very gifted. Another thing that we've always noticed with her is how quick she recovers. I mean, most of the time when she's basically not even blowing, when she's back in the winner's circle. So she just obviously recovers very, very quick as well.
This might be kind of a layered question, but I always find it interesting, especially with a superstar like Monomoy Girl, and hearing from trainers. Trainers teach their horses so much, but what do you think she's taught you?
Oh, wow. She's taught me a lot. She's taught me that, good horses, I mean, can overcome a lot just with her setbacks from last year. She's taught me that, she gave me a lot of confidence as a 3-year-old when I was able to ship her around throughout the country and work her basically at Churchill for the most part. And she take her show on the road. She did most of her training at Keeneland and Churchill and Fairgrounds as a 3-year-old, and she was able to ship to New York a couple different times and get the job done. So she gave me a lot of confidence in what good horses do and how they respond to being trained.
Brad, we got a question in for you. It says, "Excuse me, please can you give me some advice on how to be that pretty? What is your skincare and where do you shop?" I mean, I assume that's for you, not
me or Brittany.
It's definitely for Brad.
I use Dove lotion or Dove soap. I don't have any skincare.
You know, we do always comment on how young you are and how your sons. I mean, I saw your son right before I interviewed you for a Monomoy Girl, and your clones. I mean, you literally look identical.
Yeah, I don't do anything special, and I need to shave right now. In fact.
You got a blush out of him, Nick. Nice job.
I mean, I could only assume it was a question for Brad anyway. Listen, we've not given Aunt Pearl the love that we should have done, because now I don't know whether you were in on this, but Mr. Wiseboard has been telling everybody this week she's going to be prepared for a spin at Royal Ascot. Is that on the agenda?
Yeah, you know, well, it's something we're going to look at. We got a ways to go. So just like Essential Quality with the Kentucky Derby, there's a lot of, hoops to jump through and hurdles to get across before we, start picking races out or finding out when the plane's loading. But, it's definitely something. After the Jessamine, I actually brought it up to him. I said, this is something we probably look at. We'll obviously try to get through the Breeders' Cup, and that was, obviously successful. But, I think it's something that, may try to get a race into her here, maybe two, and then Ascot would be something that I think, given her pedigree, obviously these 2-year-olds no Lasix this year, it would be something we could definitely take a strong look at next year.
Yeah.
She's special. She's got the look of being any type of horse. But this is somewhat of a new venture, I know, for the partnership. And I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, new for you as well, going overseas to purchase horses. How was that experience? And then obviously getting to, train those young horses, doing well out here. I just see our turf racing in America is just blossoming. So it seems like such a wonderful move to make.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's been, obviously Clairvich Stables and Peter Brand have been very successful, buying yearlings across seas, and, BSW Bloodstock, went over last year. I don't think they were able to go over this year due to the COVID restrictions, but it's worked out. I mean, they purchased a group of horses, and she's obviously, going to pay it off for all of them. She's has been a huge success, and we'll see how it goes over the next few months.
That's a cool toy there, dude. Which plane? What is that?
It's a Nerf gun.
Ooh, pretty cool. Well, we've got a very special cocktail that was made just for Monomoy Girl, and if Mark is ready,
I'm absolutely ready. Absolutely ready. What can I say that hasn't already been said about Monomoy Girl? She is so incredible, and she definitely didn't disappoint this past weekend during the distaff. So I did want to do something a little special for her to celebrate that win. Brad, obviously you have so much to do with her success, so please celebrate along with us. Do you have a cocktail or a glass of wine or anything?
Yeah, I do. I have a beer here.
Okay, all right. It's probably the safest option to dodge Nerf darts, probably. But, Monomoy Girl, of course, she was bred in Kentucky, and she gets her name from one of her prior owners, Monomoy Stables. But what's interesting is that the name Monomoy itself actually has some interesting significance outside of the state of Kentucky. So Monomoy is also the name of an island off the coast of Cape Cod. And it actually derives, from what I've heard, to an old Algonquin word that means a mighty rush of water. Now, when you think of Monomoy Girl, you think about her fluidity on the track, her speed, her agility. I don't think there's a better description than a mighty rush, almost like a river current. So we were just talking about Cape Cod a little bit. Of course, when we think of Cape Cod, we think of cranberries. And I don't know if you know this, I was mentioning it earlier in the show, but a vodka cranberry, a fancy name for that in mixology is a Cape Codder. Now, I've only had maybe 2 people ever in my career bartending order it that way, and they were both probably just above the legal drinking age, and they were trying to sound a little bit more mature than their years. But regardless, I thought today it would be great, in honor of Monomoy Girl, to make an elevated version of the Cape Codder for this mighty power, this mighty rush of water. So I'm going to switch screens here. I can do that again this week. All right.
Ooh.
And yeah, we're back in action here. So the first thing we're going to add is some fresh lime juice. We're going to add 3/4 of an ounce. You guys have heard me say so many times throughout the show, always use fresh juices. Make sure you're squeezing it the day of or right before you're making the cocktail for optimal freshness. It's going to make a huge difference in the quality of your cocktails. I think at this point, Brittany, Nick, you guys could probably give just as many tips as I could about cocktails. Your parents as well, Brittany, they're pros at this point.
Yeah, but it's much more enjoyable to listen to you, Mark.
I appreciate that. It's much more enjoyable to hear you guys talk about this amazing sport than it is just reading about it. So the feeling is mutual. So we are going to move on with a great liqueur. We're featuring 2 liqueurs today that we haven't used yet in the show. So this is going to be a beautiful elderflower liqueur, Saint Germain. This is a great, great liqueur to have on hand in your home bar. It's as easy as adding this to Prosecco. Makes for a fantastic effervescent cocktail. But here it's going to add these kind of bittersweet elderflower notes to this drink and add a lot of depth. Make it a lot more interesting than a regular vodka cranberry. So we're going to add 3/4 of an ounce here. This is going to be our sweet element. Typically, liqueurs don't match up quite as evenly as a syrup does with the citrus. So whereas typically we'll add maybe 1 part of acid and 1 part of the syrup, we usually want to add more liqueur to balance out the citrus element. So we're going to add 3/4 of an ounce of our elderflower liqueur here. Now, of course, this is a riff on the Cape Codder. So we do want some cranberry juice. This is great in season right now. Perfect for the holidays. We've got Thanksgiving. I can't believe it. 2 weeks away. So if you like this cocktail, feel free. You can make a big batch of this leading up to your Thanksgiving dinner. We're going to add 2 ounces of cranberry juice.
Mark, can you skateboard and drink cranberry juice at the same time?
My wife actually for Halloween, she dressed up as I forget the name of the gentleman that did that, but she dressed up as him for Halloween.
Somebody said that 2020 started to turn around when he filmed that TikTok.
I think it was the sheer positivity. It was kind of that optimism that I think we all needed very, very desperately at that point. So guys, we're going to add our Tito's handmade vodka. It's amazing to me that now, what episode are we on? Did we figure it out?
29.
29, which means 29 amazing cocktails with Tito's, or I hope they were amazing. It shows you how versatile vodka is. Yes, you can enjoy it in a vodka tonic or a vodka martini, but hopefully everybody now has some more inspiration as to how to put this fantastic vodka to use. So here we're going to do
straight out of the bottle in a brown paper bag.
I forgot about that. What's that one called again? No, that's a good option. We're going to add
come to with episode 29.
I know, right? So 1.5 ounces into our mixing tin, and now we're going to give this a good shake. Are we doing any stats today during the shake? What do you think, guys?
I was trying too many winners to do stats. Too many. If I read out all Brad Cox's winners, your arm will fall off.
Probably will. And now you guys see from last week too, it can get a little intense with that chill.
And where's Jasmine tonight, Mark?
She is in the other room. I know. I asked her if she wanted to make an appearance. Maybe for the next episode, which I guess we're going to have to talk about that with our viewers.
The other room.
Well, Allison says, speaking of your wife, Mark, it is after Breeders' Cup. I'm kind of with her.
All right. I don't think it's going to happen this time, but I will do my best. I promise for our next episode. All right, guys. I'm going to shake this up. Our Monomoy Rush in honor of Monomoy Girl. All right. Nice and cold. Let's switch back to this view here so you guys can see. I'm going to strain this into a highball glass over some fresh ice. It's going to look more or less like a baller.
She deserves a highball glass.
Absolutely. And just like you were saying, Nick, it's just amazing kind of that it's not effortless, but it looks effortless in a way. She hangs in there and she knows when to hit the gas and get that victory. She really is absolutely incredible, but at the same time, so elegant.
She's a bit like you, Mark. She appears to have all the time in the world.
Well, I'm lounging here in my spa atmosphere with the candles on, sipping on cocktails, All right, so I'm going to strain this over fresh ice into our highball glass. I'm also going to get a little fancy for Monomoy here. We're going to do a lime wheel sort of spiral, I guess. So I don't know if you can see this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is kind of a new garnish. If you have,
It matches the silk that she wore the other day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
The sleeves.
so basically to get this, we would want some sort of channeling knife or instrument, and you kind of work your way around in one fluid motion to get that long strip. And then what I usually do, I had it actually curled around my mixing spoon for a while to really tighten that curl up. So then you get this kind of slinky vibe. So we're going to put that right on top here.
Everyone loves a slinky.
Yep. So cheers to you, Brad. Cheers to Monomoy Girl.
Yeah.
She's a legend.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Appreciate
That's
it. Thank you.
it.
Okay.
Oh,
How's it taste?
Ooh, it's
thank you,
delicious.
Mark.
Absolutely. Cheers, guys.
Cheers to Monomoy Girl. Wow. That man's dedication is quite something. If I could make drinks like he can talk about horse racing, the world would be a better place, I'd say.
You mean if you could cover horse racing like he makes drinks?
No, if I could make drinks like he covers horse racing.
Brad, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your massive weekend. And hey, I know there are a lot of people out there that are so excited to see the champ on the track again in 2021. So can't wait for that.
Thanks,
And-
guys. Thanks for having me on.
Just hold this thought. Next year, we could be having the same conversation, and Brad Cox could have been a winner of the Saudi Cup, the Coronation Stakes at Royal Ascot, and the Breeders' Cup Classic, and the Kentucky Derby.
Sounds good to me.
That's the week.
November 12th.
That's right.
Cheers, Brad. Have a good night.
You guys
Take it easy.
enjoy the evening. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers, Brad. Wow, what a day.
It's all in stride.
Amazing. And you know, I joke, but you wouldn't put it past him, would you? I mean, he's got the momentum, he's got the horses, he's got more good ones coming through behind.
He really credits Monomoy Girl for getting him to that place, you know, saying that she kickstarted all of this. Because once you win, because she was his first grade one, once you get that grade one victory, and we know how difficult they are to win, you know, people notice and they take notice of what he has been able to do with so many different types of horses, 2-year-olds to older horses, turf, dirt, short, long. It just really doesn't matter. So it's going to be exciting to see where the Brad Cox train continues to move on towards.
You know, one race Europeans can't win at the Breeders' Cup, don't you?
The turf sprint.
Yeah, except they can, because Glass Slippers did it. And here's the man who rode it to victory, Tom Eaves, joining us from his home in Yorkshire. Hiya, Tom.
How are we doing? You well?
Tom, thanks for joining us. I know it's late over there. For Nick, we don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
They don't care, Tom. Brittany keeps me up this late every week, but you know, I've learned to live with it after 30 weeks. Now, for you, I'm guessing you've not had that smile off your face since Saturday night. What a special occasion.
Oh, it was amazing, you know, and it's yeah, it's not till like you get home and watch it back on the telly, you know, it really sinks in, and yeah, no, it's buzzing, absolutely buzzing.
How many times have you watched that replay now?
I've lost count.
I mean, I think we've got to watch it from start to finish because it was a brilliant ride. It's a 5.5 furlong dash, and saving ground is what matters. And you truly put you know, the rest of them away by your incredible ride up the rail. So can you take us through it when you break out here, and what was your thought in trying to figure out how to maneuver through this large field?
Well, I sort of I always looking through the race beforehand, I was aware there was going to be plenty of pace, and so I wasn't going to force that. And she has been round the bend before at Chester and won round there, but going at that speed round there, I was keen to sort of get to the inside and just ride a patient race on her, and luckily the gaps open when I wanted them, and it all went to plan.
You say it as though it's simple, but there's a nice little bit of jockeyship here because you're getting half leaned on, and you've got the filly to just half nudge your way out there. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, exactly. But like you said, I had the horse underneath me to so the gap was closing, but I had the horse underneath me to get me through, and it's impressive, wasn't she?
She was really impressive. I mean, the one thing I noticed about you all week, really, and I only bumped into you a couple of times, where you did seem to have a real inner confidence in her and the partnership that you have to go and get the job done. You know, you see a lot of Europeans go over to the Breeders' Cup and they're half in hope and half in expectation. But it seems to me there was never any doubt in your mind that you could do it.
No, I have a lot of confidence in her, and her 2 previous runs going over there. Obviously, she won the Flying 5, won well. She was a bit unlucky where she was drawn in the Abbey and that. But when we got her over there, we're always very confident. She loves travelling. She takes all that very well. And I went over on the Monday, sat on her on the Tuesday, Wednesday, breezed the Thursday, and as the week went on, she just filled me with confidence. Myself and Kevin, she just filled us with confidence. And when we breezed her on the Thursday, we sort of just let her slip round the bend, and she switched the leads and picked up good. And we like Kevin actually says to me, "Good, she looks good." And we knew we were in business, sort of having a good chance, you know.
For you, though, what was the entire experience like coming over, riding in your first Breeders' Cup? Of course, getting that Breeders' Cup win, but just the entire lead up to it. What was that like for you?
To be honest, the lead up and everything, I tried to just keep it as simple as possible. I didn't really take all the Breeders' Cup thing in and everything. I just rode a normal race, kept it simple. Like I said, it's only afterwards when you're walking back in and you're thinking, God, yeah, it just happened, and then you really start buzzing, and it's amazing.
Nick, is he always this humble? It was a brilliant ride.
Yeah, that's why I think
to know that.
That's why I think everybody enjoyed it, because I'm not going to spare Tom much, as he's known to be an extremely personable guy, as well as a very good rider, and has been riding at a good level for a number of years now, and never really has wanted to blow his own trumpet. So I think everybody really appreciated it. I think, Tom, you'll agree with me. And seeing new names on the score sheet for you and for Kevin, who's a multiple Group 1 winning trainer, you're a multiple Group 1 winning rider, but you haven't got that international recognition yet. For James Fanshawe, likewise, Pierre Budo announcing himself in the United States, top class rider, and Colin Keane likewise. I think that what's made the whole evening really appealing for me.
It was like I say, I've been riding for a number of years, and I have been lucky to ride some really good sprinters, and that's my 5th Group 1. But it's to do it on the big stage and just get your name out there. It's good.
What was it like when you returned home? I know you all have to quarantine for a couple of weeks, but what was the return like?
No, it was, well, yeah. If it was normal times, I said there'd have been a hell of a party. But no, my phone never stopped. I couldn't tell you how many messages and that, and I really appreciate that off everyone, and it meant a lot. And I got home, and back to reality, but I'm buzzing.
And what about your own friends and family, Tom? Where were they watching? Did you sort of get any immediate contact from them?
Yes, I spoke to my partner Amy straight after. She was buzzing, and my mum and dad. I think my dad had a few too many after he watched it, sort of thing. But he had a rough head the next day. But why not?
Well, America knows. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
No, I was just going to say, I just want to sort of talk a little bit about your relationship with Kevin Ryan, the trainer, because how long have you guys been together?
Yeah, well, myself and Amy, we've coming 7 years. We've been together now, yeah. But I rode for Kevin a bit before then, but been riding for him for a number of years now.
And people who aren't familiar with the UK racing scene won't remember, might not know. But Amy was a very fine jockey herself, and now occasionally works with me on the telly.
Yeah, no, she was champion amateur, champion apprentice, and she knows what she's on about, and she's the first one I go to after any race and ask her what do you think and all that, and she always gives me a straight answer and gives me a telling off when I need it.
I like her already. What could possibly be next for Glass Slippers? I thought I read that Breeders' Cup Del Mar might be another goal looking forward to next year.
Yeah, well, I'm just delighted that she's staying in training next year. She's so many options. I mean, she's proved she'll go on any ground. She'll obviously go around a bend, and she'll stay as well. So obviously we all know that she only sort of comes to the boil halfway through the season onwards normally. So there'll be no rush, but I don't leave the connections to where she's going. But she'll have plenty of options.
And she'll have a lot of American fans watching her too, as they will you. For those that don't know your background, Tom, how did you get into riding? Was it something that you grew up in, always loved?
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I always had ponies and things like that. I was always quite small when I was at school and that. So
I thought you were quite tall for a jockey, to be honest.
Yeah, well, yeah. I've grown a bit since then, but no, I was always quite small, and I always had ponies. It was always a great interest in me. I love my dad used to take me to the races, and yeah, I just went to the racing school when I was 16, and I actually went to a jump yard early on when I went to Mary Reevely's and rode a little bit over hurdles and that. I would never have called myself a jump jockey, but it definitely put manners on me anyway. But yeah, so no, that was sort of the start, and then it actually took me a while to get going really, and yeah, then I was with Brian Ellison's and Brian Smarts, and yeah, and just kept tipping away at it really, and yeah, just lucky to be riding the horses I'm on at the minute.
Tom, I mean, would it be fair to say that starting off at Mary Reevely's, again, she was a great dual-purpose trainer, way ahead of her time, but would it be fair to say that was a bit of a sort of school of hard knocks, if you like? You know, there wasn't much room for you being pampered at Reevely's, I wouldn't have thought.
Oh, definitely not. I was there with a great bunch of lads, and you know, they were all a lot of good lads, and like I said, it was great grounding for any young lad, and once you've been there for a few years, you know what graph's all about, and that doesn't leave you, I don't think. So it was a good starting ground.
I'm sure. I mean, it's always fascinating to me because it's so different overseas than it is in America. You know, many of these jockeys go to a jock school, but then, you know, in Europe, you tend to, you know, ride at a certain yard, or you're with a certain trainer, and, you know, flat versus jumps. What made you go one direction versus the other? You said, I won't call myself a jumps jockey, but why did you direct your career towards flat?
No, my weight stayed good. So
oh
no,
he's gone. He dropped off. No, he's back.
So
he's back.
Sorry. Yeah. So yeah. Well, after a few years, my weight stayed good, and I knew which direction I was going, and then I was very focused in sort of what I wanted then, and like I say, I went off to Brian Ellison's, and I rode my claim out there, and yeah, I've been lucky that good people I've been riding for, and you know, I've ridden over 1,000 winners over here, and yeah, no, hopefully keep kicking.
As you should, winning the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint for the years for the very first time. I heard that you had a little insight from Ryan Moore aboard, helping you out with glass slippers. What was the story behind that?
Well, basically, obviously, I know glass slippers very well, but I haven't ridden in America very much. And I'd watched Nigel Tinkler's horse run the day before, which I thought ran very well, and Rowan gave him a lovely ride, and I thought that's somewhat similar to what I was thinking of, sort of race I was sort of planning in my head really. And before the race, I know Ryan very well. He's a great guy and a, you know, brilliant jockey. And I just asked Ryan. I said, if you had a free rein, what would you do in this race? And basically he said that they're going to go hard. Don't just he would tuck in, go the shortest way around, because although she has been round a bend round Chester, she won't have been going round one at that speed. And he said, if you're down on the fence, you've more chance of taking it better and keeping a balance and that. And he said that's the route he would go. And yeah, I was sort of thinking what sort of race I wanted to ride, but yeah, it was nice to speak to Ryan, and I spoke to him after and messaged him the day after, and yeah, no, he's a top man and a class jockey. So it was nice to speak to him.
I love hearing that. Friendship in the jocks room. It's one of the only sports where you have to ride against these guys in the afternoon and then go back into the same locker room and see each other afterwards. So it's nice to see that camaraderie between competitors, essentially.
And no, we're out on the track. There's no real friends then, but but like Ryan's a true professional, and no, he's a great guy.
So, Tom, what's the next few weeks hold for you? I mean, I guess you'll be out of quarantine. It's a week, isn't it, for the elite sport?
Yeah, I did my first COVID test Monday when I come back. I've got to do another one this Monday, and then hopefully I can ride Tuesday onwards then. And obviously it's the all-weather season here now, so hopefully I can pick a few more rides up off the back of that one.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have too many problems. You're just going to have to come down to earth somehow. You're going to get this is your decompression period before you have to endure the delights of Wolverhampton, Sutherland, and Chelmsford.
Yeah, no, but I'm walking the box now. I've had a few days off. I can't wait to get back to riding on the all weather. And no, it's a job we love doing, and so as every jockey's the same. When they've been off a few days, they're itching to get back, and I can't wait.
We heard Brad Cox talk about it earlier, with all of his success, and you go back to the barn and it's another day. Does it feel that same way as a rider? You had this great success over the weekend, but it's back to business.
Oh, definitely. It's back to business. And I just want to ride as many winners as I can now. And like I said, hopefully it got my name out there a little bit, and hopefully we can pick up a few more. But no, it's yeah, definitely just ride as many winners as I can.
Well, Tom, two big moments for you: a Breeders' Cup victory and an appearance on Cocktails and Conversation. I mean, the name is out there.
No, brilliant. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers, Tom. Thanks so much.
I do that without laughing.
Take care.
Brilliant. Appreciate it. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, Tom.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
It is an accomplishment, isn't it? We should have something akin to like an Emmy Award, or I don't know. We got to work on it.
We have Nick Luck. Congratulations. He is a finalist for America's Best Racing Analyst.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
You are.
Am I?
Did you not know this?
Is this the award that you won last year?
Yes, but I'm not a finalist this year.
How are you not a finalist? That's ridiculous.
So you've got a much better chance.
How many finalists are there? Last year there was a short list of about 28 and you won. I assumed you were forever invincible.
Me? No.
Yeah. Did you disqualify yourself? Did you discount yourself on the basis that you didn't want to win every year?
No, this is not about me. This is about you, Nick Luck. You are one of 6 and you are a finalist for best.
He wanted to give you a chance, Nick.
But we come together. We come as one.
You're right. We're like a
Well, no. No, trifecta here.
We're still waiting.
I don't know what I add to it, but
booze, and that to me is extremely important.
What's that, Nick?
Booze, and that to me.
Yeah, but no, we're not on a cocktail yet because we've got a very special guest waiting, and I want him to be here for when we make that final cocktail.
Yes.
Hall of Fame rider, Breeders' Cup Classic winning jockey, John Velasquez.
Oh my God, is it really him?
Yeah, I made it this time.
It is. For a minute, I thought it was like a cutout, but it is really you. I'm trying to touch him. But...
I'm glad that we finally got the guests that we missed last week on the show, but their excuses were fair. They were both asleep.
Yes.
Charging their phone.
The phones, run out of phones, battery, and put the phone to be charged, and fell asleep and kind of got up and looking for the phone, and it was way past the time that I wanted.
It would be fair to say you've had a pretty eventful week, but that moment on Saturday evening when you passed the wire on Authentic, did it feel like life was complete in a way?
I think so. I mean, for me, I've been very blessed and very fortunate that I had won many Breeders' Cup, but not winning the Classic is something that I was missing, though. And I've been chasing it for a long time, and finally to get to the opportunity to win it with Authentic, I definitely feel very happy. And I don't know, it was no words to say other than the relief or happiness. So I didn't know how to feel, but definitely very appreciated and very blessed.
I mean, a few days removed from it, has it sunk in at all? Have you? I'm sure you've watched it back, but have you been able to reflect on checking off that box of a Hall of Fame career?
I have. I mean, I've been reflecting. I watched the replays many times, just kind of sitting in and watching the races, watching what happened in the race. Actually, at the other horses as well. Well, very happy. I mean, the horse just did everything that I wanted him to do and respond for everything that we planned to, and you couldn't make it any better than that. And yes, I say that now. I can tell you, yes, I had one Breeders' Cup Classic.
You've won everything under the sun.
Well, not everything, but almost everything. I'm getting there.
What's left for John Velasquez? What's left on the list?
Well, if we start thinking now, the little miss that I had in the Preakness, that one is a big one for me anyway. Yeah, I mean, there's many other races, but the really big one, I would say the Preakness, yes.
John, I'm fascinated by this kind of latter-day association you've developed with Bob Baffert, because he obviously he's been at the top of his profession for 3 decades. You've been at the top of your profession for 2.5 decades, 3 decades. Yeah. And it reminded me a little bit of when Frankel found Bailey and Bailey found Frankel. Like, they'd been around for years, winning multiple Grade 1s, and suddenly there they are paired up together, and it takes the whole thing to a different level. Do you think this is going to beget more and more?
I mean, I really do. I really hope that they I mean, I've ridden for back for many years on the back, and I won Grade 1 for him. The problem or the issue that we always had, that I was so tied up with Todd, and when things came up that he needed me to ride something, I was already tied up with the horse with Todd. So the connection couldn't really happen the way it's happening right now. But he always, every time I call, every time I see him, so when are you going to ride me a good horse? I mean, I'm going to find one for you. Every time I saw him that I didn't ride for him, whether it's a year or so, I was like, man, I haven't ride a horse for you for a year. You got to find me something. And I said, you get it. So it always comes with something. So very proud that, we have that relationship for many years. And every time I do ask for something, he'll find something for me. So, I mean, but I do hope that, I'm older now. I think that if everything works out, everything comes together, and we can ride a lot more for him, I'm more than glad to do it. Definitely.
Well, he also gave you a speedster in Germain. So before we fully delve into Authentic, how good is this filly? Because she has been sensational her entire year, but her Breeders' Cup filly and mare sprint performance may have topped them all.
By far, I think that's definitely was her best run for the whole year. And I told about that too after we came back. I think this probably was the best race she's run since I've been on her, and she's very impressive. And then again, everything worked out the way I thought it was going to work out. And I know that Luis was going to send that horse really hard from the outside. And I talked to Bob in the paddock. He thought there was Manny Frankel horse that was going to show the most speed. And I said, no, I'm not worried so much about that one. I worry about Luis' horse more than anything else. And I know for sure they're going to send that horse pretty hard to the lead. But I'm not going to give it to him. I'm going to come out running. I'm not going to obligate him to go faster than me. And then I can sit right next to him on the outside. And that's what we did. When we came out running, obligate him to go much faster than we were going. And then everything from there, it was pretty easy. I mean, she was pretty comfortable what she was doing. I know people keep saying that she was never past a horse or whatever, but she doesn't have to be that. She's just quick enough that she's going to be on the lead. But it's not like she has to be on the lead the whole time. I think I always felt like she could do that, and As soon as I got to the outside, she was very comfortable where she was. And when I did ask her to run, I mean, it was like instant right away. I knew then that she was right on it. And she started going away from the other horses and the April without hitting her, even with her, just kind of showing the whip. What a great feeling that is when things work your way and the horse let you do what you want to do. It's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. I feel like fast horses get a lot of flack sometimes for perfect trips, but don't they really make their perfect trip?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. When they're good and they're that fast, they're going to make a good trip. So, and then make it easy for the jockeys as well.
It does that kind of victory. So you've got Germain, she's geared down, winning the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. You've got Authentic coming up in a few hours. I mean, how does that set up your day?
They give you a lot of confidence, to tell you the truth. When this one wins, then it's like, man, I got this one, and you just hope that the other one comes back the same way. And your expectation from the race, you start thinking all the horses and then your homework that you done, and hopefully when that gate opens, things worked out the way you want to, and everything did with Authentic as well. And talking to Bob, we knew that we were going to be close to the lead or to the lead. Although he did told me, I don't care what happens, I want you on the lead. So we were definitely committed to be on the lead on that one. But looking back, and like I told him, I don't think anybody is faster than me in the race anyway. Other than Mastercom Security that it was outside of us, I think I'm faster than he was anyway. So I make sure I told Bob, you want me on the lead, I'm going to come out running. So don't send the other one now. So make sure we don't kill each other. I mean, I knew we were faster than the other horse. So once we got to the lead, it was pretty good from there.
Here's the thing I'm always fascinated in: when you've got the experience that you've got, and you want to feel your way into the race instinctively. To what extent are you taking note of what the trainer's told you? I mean, obviously you discuss it, but at what point do you have to half leave the instructions behind and just go with what you feel is right?
Open. It's all you on the horse, though. So you gotta know what you have and what you think, and that's why I prepare myself for those kind of races. For everyday races, I had to say that. It doesn't matter what kind of race. I always like to prepare myself the best I can. But anyway, we come to these races that we discuss everything that we can, and once the gates open, it's all you on the horse. So you got to change it as you go. So but you always hope that plan A works, though. It's normally the best plan you have. You know what I mean? You have to do plan A. If that works, you couldn't even draw it or plan it any better. And when it works, it works perfectly, though. So when you have to change it, you have to change it as it goes, and you have to change it quickly, though. And then you hope the horse respond for the things that you like to do and change what the race is running, and you go from there. But when you have a plan that works, it's very satisfying.
I'm going a little off topic here, but I find that so interesting. You have your plan A, B, C, and D. Do you remember a race where you had to go off your initial plan and really adjust multiple times throughout the race, and it still, worked out?
It happens almost every day, really. But like a particular horse, particular race, I can't remember, but I know it happens so many times that you just like, man, that's nothing that I wanted to do, really. Like. Not even a plan D, basically. He was like, wow, it's like a horse broke bad, or a horse was in the position that you don't want, and all of a sudden a surprise, you come and win anyway. So it happens all the time. But when it works the way you plan it, and it's just like a dream before it happened, like you plan it this way and it works out that way. It's very gratifying, definitely.
Well, our producer mentioned rags to riches.
Yes. Well, there you go. You have a perfect one right there. Nothing that we planned. I didn't think. I mean, when she broke out of there and she fell on her face, I said, "That's it. We're done. The race is over. And going a mile and a half, we have to go wide the whole way around, which I did not want it to do. And she still goes and win the race. Incredible. What a race for her to do what she did that day and give me my first Triple Crown race. Incredible. Thank you for reminding me of that. That's one of those that you think and happen like that. Definitely not one thing that if we plan it and happen. Yes.
I mean, if you want me to keep talking about fillies beating colts and classic races in the Preakness this year, I'm teasing you, but
I'm okay. Throw it on me.
I don't know. You give yourself a hard time about it, but you're sandwiched between a Derby and a Breeders' Cup Classic. At some point, a trainer's got to do something. That you can't just keep piling it on these horses, can you? At some point, you just have to. If you'd ridden him as aggressively in the Preakness as you had, say, the other twice, would you have still had the horse for the Classic? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, thank you for asking the question. You know, the whole thing is that, you know, Authentic's very quirky, and they see things that we don't see, though, you know. And the way the shadows were on the racetrack and the poles, every time he passed one, he slowed down. He was not really going into his mind on business, and everything he passed the pole, he slowed down. Even I got away from the other bad horse on the race, and I got onto, if you watch the Untitled Chapter, I was right on where the shadow of the big rail is, so he didn't see the poles every time he passed one. I mean, so he still ran a great race. I just don't think he didn't run his race because he was more worried about what he was seeing in the ground that running the race. Now we hooked up in the half of my pole, and he finally seemed like he was willing to go with Philly, and all he did was stay with her, and every time he passed the pole, he slowed down. It's so slightly that you guys can see it. We can feel it, you know, every time he went through that. So every time he passed the pole and he slows down. And instead of going fight with her, he just concentrated and looking at the ground. And even though he missed it by this much, I think, actually was a really fast race. And I told Bob, like, you know, I know everybody thinks really fast, but he didn't run his full possible. What's what I'm looking for? Yeah. So he didn't really put his whole effort on him, and then he went on and galloped out really, really well. And I was kind of frustrated, and I told Bob, and Bob was a little bit mad at me as well because I didn't really put him in the lead early in the race. And I was like, what if I wanted to? He was not going to go to the lead because when I squeezed him to go somewhere, we go back and watch the replay when we passed the wire for the first time, where the people walk across the track on the Preakness. All those tire tracks going the opposite way. I mean, he tried to jump there. From then on, I knew he was just not mentally there. And every time he passed for something, he slowed down and slowed down. So even if I was aggressive with him, I know for a fact that he was not as sharp like when he was at the Derby or the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah.
From the Derby to the Breeders' Cup Classic, what sort of progression have you seen from that? What sort of changes have you seen? And of course, this is a different year. So you're going September to November. It's not a long amount of time, but what sort of growth did you see from this horse? Because I felt like he kind of came into the Breeders' Cup Classic slightly overlooked for whatever reason.
Because he got beat on the Preakness, basically. But not, I mean, if you start thinking about it, he barely got beat and not really running his full potential, right? Now he comes to a different racetrack, and believe me, I watched this very, very closely the day before. I mean, the Friday, I'm thinking I ride the Philly race, the Philly mare race, and I'm thinking, please don't be all these shadows in the track that he's going to be, you know, looking at. And by the time the race ran, there were big, massive shadow. It wasn't the poles anymore. Like, it doesn't confuse you, though, you know. So horses, they would look at things. They're going to look at things that they are on the track. This time, the shadows are so much wider, so much easier for the horse to concentrate on what they need to do. And this is the kind of concentration he needed for him to go on and run his race.
Is he just a great gate horse? I mean,
he's very good. He's very good from the gate. I mean, you don't have to even ask him very much to get into the position. So it's pretty easy coming out of the gate. Yes.
At this point in time, are you wondering where everyone else is and why they're not pressing you?
Oh no, I know where they were. I just thought that, if you look at by the time I got to the first turn, I got to a really tight hole of him, and I said, all right, they're going to have to really come together because he's already on the muscle here. By the time I got to the backstretch, I gave him the head where he was comfortable, and I knew then. I mean, every time they came close to him by himself, he picked it up. By the time that somebody got close to him, he picked it up without me actually asking him to do anything. So I was very comfortable.
I tell you what, he might have gone off a 4-1 shot. He's not a 4-1 shot here, is he? With
really not.
He's not a 4-1 shot.
If you can see now the track, you're watching the replay, it's like there's no shadows there. It's just a complete clear track for him and no distraction for him. So he was very comfortable.
If we had that in race wagering, Nick, what would he be right now?
He'd be a shade of odds on, wouldn't he? I mean, the thing is, Maximum Security was never pacey enough to get to him, and Improbable's trapped 4 deep, and you know, it was just spotting him too much ground. So, and well, we'll come to Tis the Law in a minute, Johnny, but he was just never in the right kind of spot to be able to lay down any sort of a challenge to you. At what point did you think, yeah, I pretty well got this by the scruff of the neck?
Listen, when I got right to the quarter pole, when I pulled the whip to my left-handed, and he felt it, I knew then. I mean, it was like an instant. Okay, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? I haven't even touched him yet that he knew. I mean, it was the same thing in the Derby when I pulled the whip to left-handed, which Bob kept telling me, this is like for 3 days before the Derby at Jeff Ruiz restaurant for 3 nights back-to-back. Like, make sure you put you left hand and save that left hand for him. So this time actually is completely different. As soon as I pulled him out, man, he responded before I even touched him. So I knew that he was ready for it. And when I got up to him, the 8 pole past the 8 pole, that I let him know that I had him, man, it was an instant response for that as well. So I was very comfortable the way he was doing, the way he was managing the track up to that point anyway.
Just watching that replay, it gives me chills a little bit, because the fact that these 2 days of fantastic racing even took place, considering the year that's unfolded, is pretty special. And then you end it with a performance like that for Spendthrift Farm getting their first Breeders' Cup Classic victory, you getting your first Breeders' Cup Classic victory, my racehorse who had thousands of people watching. I mean, for you, Johnny, and for all your years in the sport and all of your accolades, what will you take away from the 2020 Breeders' Cup?
Well, first, I'm very thankful and very blessed that I got the opportunity to ride authentic. And what I take away, that I won the Breeders' Cup Classic. That's what I really take. Now I can say, whenever I retire, it's like, well, that one was one that I was missing in my career and my list, and I can say that I can go home now and retire and say, oh, okay, I got that one.
Apart from your own Breeders' Cup winners this year, who were probably the 2 most impressive on the main track anyway, which horse impressed you the most?
Germain.
No, apart from your own. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, if you look back, the one that Improbable was the most impressive horse, and prior to the Breeders' Cup. All the races that he was running and the way that he won the last time he won in California, I was very impressed by him, and that was the horse that I was worried more in the Breeders' Cup. Tis the Law, and I mentioned him from way before that. Obviously, he was a horse to look after, but it probably was the most that I was worried about.
So let's talk about Tis the Law, because it's been announced today that you're going to take over the ride on him. How did you find out, and how did it all come about?
My agent texts me and says, we've been offered Tis the Law. I'm going to leave it at there because it's a long story. It's a long story. But yeah, my agent told me, so we offers, and so we're going to go and take the mountains. Like, go ahead, do your job. And that was it. So.
Is that at all an uncomfortable position to be in? I mean, you ride a lot with Manny in New York. I mean, you've, I'm sure, over the decades that you've been riding, been in a position similarly when you were younger. But how uncomfortable of a position is that?
It's uncomfortable no matter what. I mean, these kids, obviously, they look up to me and everything. So you have to, but also it's a business, though, so you got to take part of the business. And I actually had this conversation with Manny even before this happened. So, it happens all the time. It happened to me when I was that young, when I was coming up. So they understand the game, and I had this conversation with them prior to Tis the Law and all that stuff. So because they're, and certainly Eric and Sel, they work so hard to get to the point where they are, and they get a nice horse, they get taken off right away. And I always tell them, it's like, it happens to me many, many times. And even as an older rider right now, it happens to me too. They still take me off, though, So, I mean, we have to take the good with the bad, but they're going to be more bad for them at this point in their life, because it's always, they're going to go and look for the top riders that they could handle the pressure and wherever they go. So it happens a lot. So, but the other hand, is a business that you have to, fulfill, and it's a job that I have to do.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question that you might think is a bit unfair, but I'm going to ask it anyway because you're a good sport. and you fell asleep last week. So
I know where you're going.
All right, I'm cocktail with me. I'm waiting.
So here's the deal: you've watched the race back a million times. Manny Franco got a ton of criticism for the ride on Tis the Law. Say you'd been riding the horse on Saturday night. What would you have done differently?
Well, I mean, obviously, everything afterwards is a lot easier to do. But in my homework, I would have followed my horse. I would have stayed in the inside and cut the corner and tried to come out and the 316 pole. You know, I was the horse to beat. Obviously, the way I looked at the race, I was the horse to beat. If you're not outside, which he was probably all the way in the middle of the track, or you're going to follow a horse that it's going to take you at least all the way to the 8 pole. And I would have stayed where he was. You know, you got to take the chances no matter what. That's the position that you inherited, or you have to go 5-6 wide, or you cut the corner and try to squeeze horses in the stretch. And I think probably that what I would have done if I was in that position.
I think I already know the answer to this though, but with a different ride, do you think he could have beat Authentic? Could anyone have beat Authentic?
No one would have beat Authentic on that day. Absolutely not. You probably would get a better ride or better position, and you would get a better position. But other than that, he was not going to beat Authentic. Not a chance.
What are your thoughts on his retirement? I think that, I think that some of us saw it, but
very sad because I feel that this horse we didn't see his full potential yet. I really do. I don't think he actually was completely mentally matched with with physical the way he is. His mind was still growing, still getting better, and I think we didn't see the full potential of Authentic. Yeah.
Where would you put him in the pantheon of great sort of mile and 1/8, mile and 1/4 dirt horses that you've ridden?
Man, I got to put it really right to the top. These horses are just a 3-year-old that, like I said before, I don't think he showed the full potential of his ability. He's got to be really close to number 1 in my from 1 mile and 1/4 on dirt twice with the best horses and the way he did it, and capable to doing better than that by far. Yes, very, very impressive horse.
That's a big statement.
By far.
Wow.
I never ridden a horse that good before that actually has more potential that he didn't even use yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad to see him go because I think a 4-year-old he would have come and kill everybody. I honestly, if I think it's down, trains with the way he was training for the Breeders' Cup, get mature, get his mind what he needs to do, and he would be a dangerous horse.
He's obviously
I'm sorry?
He's an incredible specimen. He's got his quirks. Well, what do you think was it about him specifically that set him apart from the rest?
Well, the physics, look at him. Look at the way he looks, everything that he did. It was so effortless. And not only that, like I said, it's like imagine if his horse was 100% in mind what he needed to do, no one would have touched him. No one.
Unbelievable. I wanted to give you
what do you guys still really the 2 races that he won in Derby, winning the Breeders' Cup? I just don't think we didn't see his best. Can you believe that?
It's wild to see how far he's come, though, because I remember, and this is probably what stuck in my head for so long. I remember when he won the Sham, I believe, at Santa Anita, and Drayden Van Dyke almost fell off of him because he was looking at things. He ducked into the rail. He was ducking out, and you thought that horse right there, there's no way he could go and win the Kentucky Derby, the Breeders' Cup Classic. Perhaps the lack of fans helped him, but it's.
I don't think so. I think that he would have go through that. I think it's more about what he sees on the track himself, though. At that moment, it's not so much to the outside or to the side. It's what he sees on the ground, though. That's why kind of distracts him and kind of makes him looks everything and not focus on what he needs to do. Forget about the fans, forget about what's inside. I don't think it's actually what he sees on the ground. And that's why, obviously they put a shot roll on him for a reason. I think he needed a much bigger shot roll than anything on the track. But yeah, I think if he overcomes all those things that he sees in the ground, obviously a dangerous horse, and he was a dangerous horse. And I still think that he was getting mature now. like the way he ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Yeah, that innate ability was always there. The progression to see was just, it's remarkable and exciting to see him physically fill out too. Nick, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I was just going to say, when you get to a certain point in your career and you have achieved so much and you've ridden so many good horses, but you still feel good, you still want to ride, you still have that competitive instinct, you're still the top dog, grade 1 winners all the time. How important is a horse like Authentic? Do they become more important as time goes on because they are then giving you the sort of strength mentally and physically to keep going, to keep wanting?
They do come. It's more important now. I'm at my age. The sort comes like that, and having the opportunity to do it. I mean, you're only getting older, and people doesn't really believe on you. You're getting older. It's like every sport out there, really. I mean, you look back at any sport. Anytime you get to your 40s, it's getting old. It's can't do this job anymore. I mean, I think I'm fitter now than when I was in my 30s, and I ride better than when I was there, mentally, physically. But the sport, otherwise, things are different of you, though. You know, I'm still hungry. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I mean, the excitement that gives me a rider horse like Germain or Authentic, it grabs you back into it, though. You know, like thinking, man, I'm not getting any good horses, and you get bored. And for me, it's going to be bored if I don't get to ride any good horses, because the everyday business is just a day for me now, though. You know, I like the assignment from the big races. And to tell you the truth, I've done it for so long. I want the assignment. I want the good horses. I want the big races. That's what keeps me going and what keeps me hungry to come back. And having the opportunity to ride a horse like Authentic, I mean, is what brings you, I don't know, brings you from the chair or from your bed or somewhere else that, you know, that you feel like, okay, I'm alive and I can do the job, you know, and just planning and being competitive on the racetrack and things that can happen and anticipating things and feeling the power of your horse. Everything comes together. It's a great feeling, man. It's just for me, obviously being in for a long time, I think it's the best feeling in the world, and for what I do. And I am pretty sure all the sports are the same way. When you study and you work hard and things where you're a baseball player, basketball player, everything, they all do homework. They all do homework before the games or stuff. I do the homework the same way. I'm trying to imagine how it's going to play. This scene is going to play, you know. So all those things have to come together, and with horses like this is what makes it happen.
Johnny, your enthusiasm and love for the sport and what you do is truly contagious. You've been such a wonderful ambassador for racing for so long, and I can sense through the screen just like your hunger, your love for it, and I hope that people watching realize that you know, that's what the sport brings out of people. You know, it brings that love.
It's an assignment for the sport, assignment for the horses, assignment for everything. The assignment that brings to me, I hope it brings it to everybody else. And it's a lot of people. I think we have plenty of fans that feel the same way, though. You know, it feels that you know, it's an exciting sport to watch, to be part of it. And I hope more people watch. I hope more people come to it and see the assignment that we do bring to the people and to the fans.
And we're so lucky that we get to see our Hall of Famers still on the track. You know, most other sports Hall of Famers are retired, but in our sport, they are not. So we still get to see their talents on display. Before we get to Mark's cocktail that is specifically made for Authentic, it's the Authentic Kentucky Flyer. I wanted to give you a moment, Johnny, to talk about the campaign Real Men Wear Pink. And I know it was for October and breast cancer awareness. Can you just tell us a little bit about your involvement, why it's something that you're passionate about, and if those watching can still get involved to help?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a very dear to my heart. Obviously, my mother has been breast cancer survivor once, and she's going through it right now twice, and really hard to see it going through the treatments, and 3 different treatments right now in less than 5 months. So it's really hard, you know, to watch it, you know, going through the same thing that we went 12 years ago, I think, just about 12 years now. And she still has a great spirit. You're going to make me cry. Having to put through all the things she's go through and holding the family together is incredible. It's sad to watch it. I know a lot of people going through the same thing, but when it happens to somebody close to you, it really hurts. Yeah. Anyway, yes. very important to me. And actually, you have and not in here about real men things. I can't even say it now.
Real
thing. And yes, I mean, I willing to, I was put that there so people can go in and support us on the situation, and not just in the name of my mother-in-law, but obviously everybody else who's going through this bad times right now. And I know the COVID-19 and everything is more in the news and everything, but I mean, breast cancer and cancer is all year long. That doesn't go away, so there is no cure for it, and it's really sad for the people who have to go through it and the family who have to go through it. So I mean, anytime we can do something to keep the awareness, and maybe bring a little smile to the families, and a little help that we can do. I mean, this goes for people who are out in the hospital, people who can afford hospital bills or can afford even room. So it helps those people in the families that they're together. So yeah, very important.
Well, Johnny, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for showing the support, because I know many people out there will know someone that has been affected by breast cancer. So Real Men Wear Pink, you can donate. You've already well surpassed your goal of $5,000. So $11,000 raised there for breast cancer awareness. And I know that your mother-in-law, she had a special feeling about Authentic. So got the job done.
She said before we left, she said, like, I have a really good feeling for this weekend for you and to get me in Authentic. So, I mean, she told me to bless myself. She's giving me holy water and everything to bless myself to go out there. What a blessing, so, and for it to coming through it. Very happy to have that around.
Love it. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. And everybody at home, if you want to donate, we put that scroll back up at the bottom of the screen if you can support, because again, it, as Johnny said, it is not just something in 2020, it's every day around the world. People are battling breast cancer.
And thanks to everyone who donated. I know I told everybody that I was going to match my goal was $10,000 and help me to get to 5,000 and not match it. So we did the 10,000, and anytime they can help and put a little bit they can in there, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, any amount helps. Any amount helps.
Absolutely.
Well, Mark, we've got a very special way to toast Authentic and round out this show and toast the Hall of Famer Johnny V, which is with a special victory this last weekend. So give us the history behind the Authentic Kentucky Flyer.
I will, absolutely. First, I have to say, Johnny, you're such an incredible guy. Just to hear you speak. Obviously an incredible athlete, but an incredible person. And, I knew I wanted to talk about how successful and how legendary Authentic is, but a big part of that is your relationship with him. And hearing you speak about just knowing what he's looking at, almost like you're looking through his eyes, really incredible to listen to. So, I mean, clearly Authentic, I mean, he has been a legendary horse for a while now, huge journey, but I think he really cemented his legacy in the world of horse racing this past weekend with that commanding victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. You watched him, you felt it, Johnny. We watched him. It looked like he was flying. I imagine from your perspective, it feels like you're flying right along with him. So it reminded me of a new classic cocktail, which is called the Kentucky Flyer. How perfect is that? I swear I didn't just conjure this up. It actually existed. I think it was founded back in 2011. But essentially, the Kentucky Flyer is a whiskey-based variation on the classic Aviation cocktail. So the Aviation was created in 1916 by Hugo Enslin, a bartender, and it combined gin, lemon juice, maraschino liqueur, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and then Creme De Violet. Creme De Violet is this beautiful floral blue liqueur that just imparted this amazing flavor to the drink. The only thing was, it was a little hard to come by. So by the time we got to 1930 and Harry Craddock published the Savoy cocktail book, he took the Creme De Violet out. Since then, now with this craft cocktail renaissance, you can now find Creme De Violet again, which is awesome for cocktail nerds like this guy. So you can find it in your specialty liquor stores or online. But it does seem that the Kentucky Flyer got its inspiration from that abbreviated recipe of just the gin, lemon juice, and maraschino liqueur, which kind of makes sense, right? Because if we wanted to pair Creme De Violet with a spirit, it makes more sense with a botanical floral spirit like gin as opposed to whiskey with its vanilla and oak tones. So today we are going to be making our Authentic Kentucky Flyer. I'm going to show you how to do it. We're going to switch screens again here. All right. We are going to start off with our fresh lemon juice. We're only going to add a half an ounce here. So a half an ounce of our fresh lemon juice.
Johnny, I should have asked, what was your cocktail of choice?
Tequila.
There you go.
I mean, I'm just learning about tequilas and how they all are very different. And
yeah, I'm more into white tequila.
Okay.
White tequila, yeah.
It's versatile because you can sip that. A really great Blanco tequila you can have on its own, but it forms a great base for cocktails. You know, if you use that in a margarita or a Paloma, yep, it really lets the other flavors shine. So I'm a big fan of a well-crafted Blanco tequila as well. Nice, clean flavor profile. Yeah. So we are going to move on to our maraschino liqueur. I'm going to add 3/4 of an ounce. You'll notice that just like we did with the Saint Germain in the earlier cocktail, a little bit more of the liqueur to balance out the acidity. So not quite a 1-to-1 like we would do with a syrup. Now, maraschino liqueur is really, guys, this is an ingredient, a cocktail, an ingredient that you want to invest in having. If you like classic cocktails, if you want to learn more about classic cocktails, you will find this in a lot of them. So this is Luxardo brand maraschino liqueur. It's made from the sour Marasca cherries that grow predominantly on the Dalmatian coast in Croatia. Now, we all know maraschino cherries, right? Originally, maraschino cherries were those same Marasca cherries that had been basically preserved in this liqueur. But then as the demand for maraschino cherries grew and skyrocketed in the 20th century, I mean, people started putting them on desserts and stuff, so you really needed more. That's when we kind of switched over culturally to that more artificial red dye number 5 stuff that we all say that we don't like, but we also kind of like them. But these days,
maraschino cherries were great in my Shirley Temple.
Yes, kids love them. They do make a nice addition to a Manhattan. But of course, you can find Luxardo cherries, which are true Marasca cherries that are then saturated in a thick, kind of a rich syrup, or brandied cherries like we're going to be using later on. So I mentioned some other classic cocktails. You can make an aviation with maraschino liqueur. You can make the aviation sort of evil twin brother, the last word, which is very, very similar, but a little bit more herbaceous because it contains chartreuse. You can make a Martinez cocktail, which many people see as the predecessor to the martini itself, or the Hemingway daiquiri. Yeah, or the Hemingway daiquiri, which is basically a daiquiri that uses maraschino liqueur in place of sugar. And that was so named because Hemingway was diabetic, so he had to watch the amount of sugar intake that he used. So he had that maraschino liqueur instead of the sugar in his daiquiris. That doesn't mean that he cut back on how many daiquiris he was having, though. So a little bit of a balancing act there. But anyway, this is a great ingredient to have on hand for your home bar if you love making classic cocktails. So I definitely recommend it. All right, next we're going to add 2 ounces of our Maker's Mark bourbon. I think traditionally this drink is actually made with rye, but you know we love our bourbon here on Breeders' Cup, and I think the sweetness of the vanilla, those oak tones are going to be perfect. Rye tends to have a little bit of a spicier nature, which would work excellent, but I think this is going to be a fantastic substitution. So 2 ounces. Little flourish for Nick.
Are we shaking this cocktail, Mark?
We are shaking this cocktail, yeah. Again, anytime that we see we're using citrus juices, that's sort of a key that we're going to want to shake it. But what's interesting is we're actually going to add some mint leaves to it. And you might be wondering why we're not doing our muddling, our gentle muddle with the mint leaves. Well, yeah, we can slap the mint to release those oils. But another good point is that remember that these are very gentle herbs. Sometimes just by shaking it with the ice itself, there's enough contact to break those cell walls and release those aromatic oils. And it's only 2 leaves of mint, so this is a supporting character. But I love that recommendation to slap it before we put it in there, because why not? It's only going to make it better. So I think we're going to go. I see you, Nick. I see you. All right, we're going to go ahead and shake this up, guys.
Nick, get all Johnny's accolades ready.
Oh yeah, can we do some stats?
Please, hang on 1 second.
All right.
Now that's going to be one long list.
I know. Johnny, do you know about this tradition of ours? While I shake cocktails, we read off the lists of stats of our distinguished guests, and you are definitely a distinguished guest. So
this is going to take forever. I'll try it.
Well,
tell me when.
Pick and choose.
All right. Ready?
I'm going to mute myself.
Ready. Here we go. Ready, go. 3 derbies, Belmont, Breeders' Cup, Mile, Juvenile, Fillies, Filly and Mare Turf, Distaff, Sprint Turf, Juvenile Marathon, Fillies Turf, and Classic 2020. Woodbine Marley beat early Dubai World Cup King Stan Stakes at Royal Ascot. Queen Elizabeth II Stakes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Joe Hirsch Futurity Test Mother Goose. Ruffian Alabama Beldame Metropolitan about 5 times. Champagne 4. Hollywood Derby 3. Sword Dancer twice. Flower Bowl 5, Meadowlands Cup Spinaway Stakes, Acorn Stakes 4 times, Woodbine Mile 5, Vosborough Stakes 3 times, Cigar Mile twice, Coaching Club American Oaks 5 times, Matriarch Stakes twice, the Ashland, the King's Bishop 3 times, the Matron, the Prioress twice, the Ogden Phipps, the Personal Lenson 3 times, the Frizette 4, the Whitney 4, the Don Handicap 4, the Kentucky Oaks, the EP Taylor 3, the Ballerina 4, the Gopal 1, the Garden City twice, the 3 times, the Bluegrass 3 times, Travers once, the Fogo, the United Nations, the Haskell, the Woodward 4, the La Brea, the Clement Hirsch, the Championship, the Yellow Ribbon, the Carter, the Madison, the Florida Derby 5 times, the Wood Memorial, the Alcibiades, the Clark, the Spinster, the Gulfstream Pikes.
Oh, let the poor guy stop.
Keep going, Mark. The Man of War 3 times, the Makers 46 Mile, the Hopeful, the First Lady, the Turf Classic, the Shadowell Turf Mile, the Apple Blossom, the Jog Glove Gold Cup twice, the Latway and the Jenny Wiley, the Secretary, the LED Stakes. That'll do. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, the achievements of Johnny Velasquez.
I got something for you, though.
Oh, no.
I got something for you.
Go on. You only won something 5 times, and I said 6.
No, you missed one Traver.
Oh.
You missed one.
All over again.
You said one Traver.
Yeah.
All right. This is so cold
Mark.
that I could actually write. Hold on. Let me try to do this. It says I heart Johnny V.
Wow.
That's how cold that is.
Hang on. You won 2 Travers, yeah?
Yeah.
Which one did we miss? Hang on.
Portavana
Flower Alley.
and Flower Alley.
We
Fiona, where is she? Have her jump in here.
She's listening. She's listening.
Code of honor.
You
Yeah.
missed Portavana, huh? That was very recently, though.
Yeah, code of honor.
Well, that's
All right, guys.
for you.
That was fantastic. It was good. Look at that.
That was impressive. This is for you, Johnny. So we've got our authentic Kentucky Flyer here. We do want to garnish with a little bit of mint. So just like we did before, we're going to slap that mint just a little bit, rest that on top. And of course, we're going to need some brandied cherries on this one. So,
Nice.
all right. That is in honor of authentic, but in honor of you, Johnny, as well.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There
Cheers.
we
All
are.
right, guys.
You like the horn. It's quirky, but it's a winner. Cheers, Mark.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Oh, well. Johnny B, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. And sorry I messed up last time.
Don't be silly.
It made it all worth it. Well worth the wait. Thank you.
Very good.
Hey, congratulations. Tell your lovely wife hello for all of us. I know she's nearby.
This is Pat. They're listening. My wife and daughter are here listening. So they're behind the computer.
So where will we see you next? Where are you riding for the near future?
Well, I'm here this weekend, and then the following weekend I'm in Kentucky. Or the park, I think it is, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. We'll keep an eye.
Yeah, you'll see me. You see me in California quite a bit too this winter.
Really?
Yeah.
That's news. I mean, did you just break some news? Are you moving your tack over here for winter?
Yeah. Well, I'm not spending the whole winter, but I'll be quite a bit. Yeah.
We love hearing that. We love hearing that. Hey, we don't get much rain out here. It's beautiful.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Johnny, thank you so much. Congratulations on a massive weekend.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny.
You made this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
What a guy.
What a gent.
Awesome.
Great
Awesome.
job, Mark. I think he enjoyed that.
Awesome. I enjoyed that. Even with the workout. Again, that's the best way for me to get the workout here. So, no, he truly is so exceptional. And it's amazing. We've seen this time and time again throughout the show, the connections that are built between the jockeys, the horses, the trainers, the jockeys, the trainers, the horses. It's incredible. It's 360, the relationships that are formed. And I think that's really what paves the way for success, like we saw this past weekend.
Well said, Mark. Nick, where are we off to now?
I think we're off. But
Off for how long?
that was the end. Well, I think that is the end of the season. But I believe that our great leader has plans for
Season finale.
a season finale. Yeah.
That was my take. Yeah. So if this is episode 29,
Yes.
we'll have a special season finale. TBD.
But when's it happening?
It's to be.
It's going to happen.
All right.
It's going to happen in December. We're not sure when yet, but there'll be a holiday edition, and that will be the finale. Because I can't live without this show. I mean, it was so great tonight.
There he
It
is.
really was a great episode.
Anyway, I'll leave you guys. But
The man behind it all.
Uh-huh.
it was the best.
Like
Johnny V.
Like Dr. Evil in his Saratoga lair, just pulling the strings.
Thank you guys. But yes, one more to go in December.
Oh, Stewie.
One more.
Steward S. Inquiry. Oh, that's a great story too. I mean,
Yeah.
Episode 29 in the books, you guys. What a
Right.
way to recap.
Cheers, guys.
To everyone watching, thank you. We've loved every minute of this, and we've got one more to come until we say so long.
And then it's the build up to
Cheers, guys.
2021. Night, everybody.
Steps up to the outside stall and goes in. They're all in line.
Here we go.
They're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Higher Power was off to a slow start. Tis the Law broke very well, but will be taken back on the inside of Authentic, and Maximum Security is going up on their outside. But it's By My Standards Global Campaign. Improbable outside of them. 3 to Tom's D'Etat. Title Ready Tacitus, and the trailer is Higher Power. And the leader, as they race for the turn, is the Kentucky Derby winner. It's Authentic in front. Authentic runs by this opening quarter mile and moves into the clubhouse turn with a 2.5 length lead. His stablemate is second, Maximum Security. Tis the Law is pinned in third on the inside. Global Campaign is fourth, By My Standards is fifth. Improbable outside of horses 6 lengths off the lead. 3.5 back to Tom's D'Etat. The Title Ready. Tacitus on the outside. Higher Power is the trailer. Into the setting sun at Keeneland, the Breeders' Cup Classic field heads up the backstretch in pursuit of a Kentucky Derby winner. Authentic is on top, 1.5 lengths. On the outside is Maximum Security. Tis the Law continues to race on the rail. Not his favorite spot. He's down on the inside, just 2 lengths off the lead. Then Global Campaign. Improbable is there on the outside as they make their way for the turn. Then By My Standards. Tom's D'Etat's got 6 lengths to make up. Then Tacitus on the inside. Around the far turn. Authentic every step of the way so far. Global Campaign ridden to go. Improbable moves on the outside. Maximum Security's under pressure. Tis the Law has been angled to the outside. He's still about 5 behind. He is coming under a ride. Authentic is the one to catch. Global Campaign comes up on his outside. Improbable charges into the stretch 3 wide. Maximum Security on the rail. And they're into the stretch. And here comes Improbable after Authentic. The 2 Bob Baffert horses. Authentic digs in. Improbable to the outside second. Tis the Law trying to make a run down the center of the track. But it's Authentic in front. He won the Derby. He won the Breeders' Cup Classic. He's Authentic indeed. He won it by 2.5.